So I'm sat on this bike today because I've sold it, which is a really, really strange feeling because we've had this bike for over 10 years now. We bought it brand new, but it just doesn't get used. It's a garage ornament, and a bike of this calibre really deserves to be ridden. So stuck at an auto trader, had a few views. We've got another guy coming tomorrow who seems very keen on it. This could be the last time I see this bike, so let's take it out for one last ride, maybe. What a tremendous bike this is. It's, well, look at it. So this is probably the last time I'm going to get to ride this bike because it's up for sale and I've got someone coming to look at it. So I thought I'd go for a quick spin around the block. And also, my budget vlogging setup on my old DJI Osmo Action, it's probably the first one, it's ancient. We'll see how that holds up. God, look at it, it's going to be sad to see it go. But ultimately, it's just not very comfortable, and I'm of that age now where comfort is quite important. Ugh. Got it in wet mode, because when I went to take it for the MOT it was chucking it down. So let's go. Doesn't it sound good? Love that induction bark. I don't know how much you guys will end up being able to hear, to be honest, because this helmet isn't very noise compliant, and for a 900cc it certainly goes like an absolute rocket ship. How are we looking? All good. Bit gravelly here. We took it to Silverstone on the Ducati track day a couple of years ago and it was phenomenal. It's the first time I've been on track on this bike. I had an 848 Evo before that. It's quite a different beast. There she goes, the wonderful beast. Goodbye, old friend. Welcome back to another exhilarating episode of Moto Hobbit. Last episode we managed to get the bike ticking over a bit. There was nothing going on in the fuel tank. The previous owner did explain that he thought the fuel pump was knackered and he kindly bought me a fresh one to go in. I don't know if this is an official part, so I'm hoping it works. The aim is to get the bike running. I want to hear it sound. I want that peace of mind that things work before I start customizing it. So the objective of today's episode is to tidy up that fuel tank, refresh the internals, because whilst it's off the bike, it's a great opportunity to do that, and give it a clean. It's absolutely minging. Also, some parts have arrived. So, fuel filter, tank emblems. This is from a BMW dealer actually. There were 70mm badges, and I believe this cost me around 15 quid for two. It might even be less, but some of the sort of websites were charging quite a bit more I don't know if these are specific tank badges, but it's the right size to go on. So that was a win. I've got a headlight from Alchemy Parts. I had a good chat with the guys down there on the phone. They're really helpful, and I'd recommend going to them if you want for some headlights and other Cafe Racer parts. I'm not affiliated with them, they just really nice guys. Ducati Diavel indicators. Everyone sticks to Moto Gadget because they're good, right? But I want to do something a bit different. I used to have a Diavel and I really liked the indicators which were on the side of the radiator. Also, I've got this new fuel cap to go on. In the last episode, I showed you that the last one was absolutely rancid. Off camera, I've had to drill out the screws and then re-tap them. That was a bit of a job. So I've got this nice new one to go on. It was £36, I think it was. It's got a nice little CNC BMW logo on it. Apologies if that's loud, but it just threads on. I've also got all the rubber parts from the tank down here. I've been spending the week just spraying these with silicone. The rubber was super hard and silicone helps soften them up a bit. So now this is really nice and flexible. The little grommets from the side of the tank are nice. The tank pad is gone super flimsy again and it feels nice and soft. But most importantly, because I've got the new fuel cap, I wanted the seal, the gasket for the fuel tank to be supple as well, and just to restore that. Unfortunately, that hasn't worked. I heard tales that vegetable oil does a good job, but this is a 40-year-old bike, right? So that's pretty much just perished. So the good folks at K Parts Holland have sent me a new one. You can see how bendy and flexible that is. Isn't that lovely compared to the last one? And you know, as I say, I'm refreshing the fuel tank, so it makes sense to get a new one, just so we know things are nice and done properly. So yeah, let's crack on. So I figured I'd start with cleaning out this inner ring. It makes no sense to stick on that nice new fuel cap if this is all disgusting. I'll get some Scotch-Brite and see if I can get this clean. Right, so the Scotch-Brite probably wasn't strong enough, so I started using my drill with this wire brush. Hopefully, after a bit of time, this will start looking a lot nicer. So I've just gone over it with some metal polish and some brake cleaner. And you know what, it's looking really, really nice. So I might just call it there. It's definitely an improvement from how it was. I've had a bash at tidying this up. I had some random bits of sandpaper. I've tried going up from sort of grade, I think it was 400 up to 1000, and then I stuck a bit of polish on the top. It's revealed quite a few little dings, and there's a lot of pitting from where it was so corroded. And also there's still some really deep scratches. Now that I've got the nice light here, it's easier to spot them. I didn't see them the first time round, so I am going to have to go back over that. But what I want to also do is refresh the underside of it. It's disgusting. We'll get this off. I'm going to give it a proper good clean. I did have to seek the help of a welder because there was some fuel seepage coming out of this seam. So that's all been sorted out. Hopefully it's been pressure tested and it all seems to be fine. I was going to try and keep this intact because I thought I could just cut out a new bit using the same shape, but I think I'm going to rule that one out. Can barely get my gloves off of it. Huzzah! Right, so I've cleaned everything up on the underside of this. It's looking really good. I think the paint was quite nasty under there anyway. A lot of primer showing through, and then there's parts of the tank where it's all flaking off. So it might be worth sticking a coat of paint on there. Right, it's another day. I've sprayed the bottom of the tank, but I wasn't quite happy with the finish on the top. There were a lot of deep grooves and stuff after I polished it the first time. I couldn't really get them out. Perhaps someone with more skill would be better at it, but to be honest with you, I quite like where it's at. It's a 40-year-old bike. There's going to be some wear marks in it. And compared to where we started, it looks a million times better. So I've still got the top taped up. I've sprayed the underside all black. It just looked a bit scruffy before, so I like the idea of it all being sort of one colour. So next steps are to take this masking tape off and replace the internals, and then we can get that new fuel cap fitted. And then what we also need to do is do some sort of insulation to replicate that padding that was on the bottom of the tank before. So my plan is to just use this to line the bottom, and out the box it seems like a pretty decent sort of size, so hopefully I'll be able to do it in one piece. So yeah, let's get the inside of this fuel tank out. That is absolutely trashed, so I'm gonna have to get on the old interwebs and order a new one, aren't I? There is no point refreshing a fuel tank with all these parts. Good lord. Looks like there's some sort of filter down here as well. I don't think that's done a very good job because it's smashed to pieces. Right, so plan B. Got to wait for new gauze before I can do the fuel pump. So let's start on the insulation at the bottom. Let's go and see how this looks on the bike. So as you can probably tell from the mess that's lying in front of me, things didn't exactly go to plan. I think this foam was a bit too thick. The fuel tank didn't really lie down in the sort of position it needed to. But fear not, there is a plan B. I have some old sound deadening material from a camper van project, which I could use instead. So let's give that a go. So this is a product called Silent Coat, or it's by Silent Coat, and I use this as sound deadening in the camper. So this might be the perfect solution, because it's also got the foil top on it. It's very flexible, and it's easy to cut. I think it's a bitumen backed product. It's very sticky, so that might just be the solution that we're after. Right, so I'm really happy with how that fits. There's no lateral movement, which we had when we had the thicker lining on. The mounting bracket lines up nicely. So for all intents and purposes, I would say that I'm done with this now. Yes, new parts have arrived. Again, K Holland have come to the rescue, and what I've ordered is a whole replacement kit for the fuel tank. So we have the fuel pump, the vibration dampener, the fuel hose, gauze, filter, and it also came with a new tank ring. I already bought one, but it was part of the set and it worked out loads cheaper. New connectors for the fuel tank, fuel pump even, and then a whole load of new clips for the hoses. Right, so the first thing to note, I've popped these little shoes on the existing wiring. The set did come with some new connectors, but to be honest, these look all right. I'll give them a bit of a clean with some Scotch-Brite. It's impossible to wire this pump back to front because one connector is a lot larger than the other, which means that the small one can't go over the other one. So I don't really need to worry about which one's positive and which one's negative. There's only one way to wire it. I'm just going to bolt up all of these. And then we had a fuel filter, and apparently these are directional, so I guess that goes in that side. Turns out that's for later models. Earlier ones need a smaller filter, so I bought this aftermarket one here, and the aim now is to get that onto the bottom. It's a very snug fit though. It doesn't just go on knocks. Just gentle ones, just to caress it on there. So, this can go in the bin. And we'll go and get the fuel pump, the fuel tank, and we'll see if we can fit this. Right, so the tank is back on. I've connected all of the hoses. I filled the tank with fuel. I've reinstalled the battery and the ECU is plugged in. So the only thing left to do is to wheel this outside and see if we can get it started. So I guess pull in the clutch and press go. You can hear the fuel pump going.
75 years later.
Yes! sweating! Sounds like a tractor. So I've let it sit for a bit, and it's sounding a lot better now actually. It sounded a bit like a V-twin before when the choke was completely off. But I've left it for 15 minutes and I've come back. And I've just started it straight up with the choke off. And sounds more like what I would expect. So let's give it a bit of a rev and see what it sounds like. It does sound quite rattly in the engine. I know there's oil in it, perhaps not enough. Well, it's idling a bit nicer now, so perhaps it's just the fact that it's been sat there for a while. So, on that exhilarating note, let's end the episode there. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.